Council for Monday, September 20th, 2021. Before we begin our meeting tonight, I would like for our community to observe a moment of silence for Officer Madrid Evans. We have experienced an incredible outpouring of support here in our Independence community from our citizens, our businesses, our visitors, and many, many people around our region, around our state, and around our nation who are by our side during this terrible tragedy. Services for Officer Madrid Evans will be Thursday from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock at the Community of Christ Auditorium for the visitation. There will be a funeral Friday at 11 o'clock at the auditorium, and there will be a procession preceding the funeral on Friday. Those details are still being worked out, but they will be announced soon. With that, if you would please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear Father in heaven, we are gathered together in the capacity of a city council meeting. We're deeply grateful for our mayor and each councilman and councilwoman that conduct the affairs of our city. Our dear Father in heaven, we ask thee to surround the family and the fiancé of Officer Madrid Evans at this time of sorrow, to comfort them and to meet their needs at this time. And we're grateful for this officer's service. We're also grateful for our police department, our fire department, our emergency people that step forward to protect us here in Independence. We ask thee to bless our council with wisdom and insights and inspiration as they consider the issues that are before the city this evening. We love thee and give thee our gratitude and devotion in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmembers Huff.
Here.
Perkins.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
DeLucy. Steinmeier.
Here.
Hobart.
Here.
Mayor Weir.
Here. We do have several citizens who have requested to speak to the council tonight. We do have one non-resident, Councilmember Huff.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I move to change the rules tonight to allow a speaker that does not live within the city of Independence to speak.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Steinmeier.
Yes.
Hobart.
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. All right, our first citizen is Katie Alexander, who wishes to speak on crime and disorder in the community and mental health due to lack of community standards. Ms. Alexander.
Thank you. My name is Katie Alexander, and I live in Independence. And at this time, I prefer not to give my address out because, for some reason or another, it seems to be an issue. I am a resident of Independence. I pay taxes here, and I've lived here for 20 years. My vision when I bought the house was a personally affordable home that I paid for, no program paid for, in a middle-class neighborhood based upon the stated community values at the time and the information provided by crime statistics at the time. Those statistics I later learned were invalid due to the number of residents that had stopped calling the police. This was some years back. Things have gotten much better in that department. In the last 4 weeks, there has been several incidents related to uninvited persons on my property and my neighbor's property. In one instance, the person entered my neighbor's garage without her permission and began shopping through her foodstuff. She would have gladly given them anything, I'm sure, if they had asked and they had not entered her home. It was trespassing and stealing, but they are elderly and sick and afraid. We as a group in my neighborhood meet regularly, and we continue to ask for help not only from the police but now from our elected officials. I am asking you to make decisions to benefit the homeowners and residents of Independence, the people that are voting and paying taxes. I am asking you to stop rewarding a lack of personal responsibility, criminality, and dysfunction, and start rewarding residents who do the right things. Elected officials have the ability to construct rules and structures that reward citizens and do not support, nurture, or attract dysfunctional individuals, groups, or programs. I was unaware of any other people that were going to be speaking tonight. I came to you because, unfortunately, I spoke earlier with my city council person about an instance that happened last week on my property, and I had to ask some people to leave. They appeared to be armed, and I was terrified. Absolutely terrified, completely terrified. My neighbor has all the information from the cameras that we have in our neighborhood, and I forwarded it to the appropriate people. I should not have to live like this, nor should my neighbors have to live like this. If we want to put a bird bath out, it has to be set in concrete so that it won't be stolen. If we want to improve anything, we have to make the assumption that whatever we put out can be stolen. Anything that we enjoy can be an attraction to someone who prefers not to do whatever it is that we're doing and have to do. So I am here to tell you that every single time that there is an incident of conflict between people, there is a possibility that something terrible will go wrong. And with that, that's all I'm going to say, because I think everybody knows that it's really time to do something different. And I am seriously asking you, before you utilize any taxpayer money for anything, to ask yourself this: do I want it next door to me, and will it create a productive citizen? Because millions and millions has been spent and given and raised, and there's very little accountability for outcome. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Scott Stoner, who wishes to address the council on homelessness. Scott.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Scott Stoner. I have a homeless outreach ministry here in Independence called the Hands and Feet of Jesus KC. We have a lot of time and effort spent on the homeless in Independence. Yes, there's good. Yes, there's bad. Just like the citizens of Independence that live in houses. You have good, you have bad. Don't judge them all by a couple. I've heard talks that Independence is wanting to do a drop-in shelter, as it's called, a homeless shelter, something for winter time, something like that. I don't know if it's true, I don't know. But if that's the case, if Independence is looking at some sort of homeless shelter, that's not gonna cut it. You need to look beyond that and look to rehab, some sort of programs. The homeless in Independence is only getting worse. Every time we go out, we see new faces. I don't know if they're transients. I don't know if, we've heard of other counties dropping them off in Independence. We've heard of other counties dropping them off in Kansas City. Whatever it is, it's not going to go away. I don't care what kind of program you put into place. There's still going to be those that want to live on the streets. They don't want to abide by the rules. They don't want to, whatever it is. There's a mental breakdown somewhere. There has to be a give and take. I hear a lot of citizens in Independence saying, we don't want this in our neighborhood, but we don't want the crime in our neighborhood. We don't want You know, the homeless in our neighborhood, we don't want to shelter in our neighborhood. There's got to be a give and take there somewhere. You know, there's got to be, if you don't want the homeless, you're not going to get rid of them. So there's got to be something done to ease that burden. A Housing First initiative is working great in other states. It's working phenomenal. Programs to make them feel, this is bad to say, but make them feel like they have a purpose back in society. Whether it's, I hear there's a trash problem, pay a minimum wage to pick up trash on the side of the highways. My group, and there's other groups that will facilitate that. You know, we will take charge of it, you know, but we need help. There's a lot of us that have been looking at facilities in Independence to start a rehabilitation center for the homeless. We don't want the taxpayers' money of Independence. We just want the Independence and the residents of Independence to give us a chance to do something. Let us, you know, pick out a building somewhere that we can do this. Give us a year, give us 2 years. Let's see what we can do to make a change. If it doesn't work within that amount of time, then something else. It's a live and learn process. The houses in this in the Independence, the recovery houses and stuff, they've been doing a tremendous job with helping these individuals get off the streets, get into programs, get into jobs. It's winning. You're going to have the bad ones. It's a give. You're going to have them. There's going to be some that take, some that don't. But you got to look, there's more guys that this is working out for than not. And my ministry, we will do whatever we can to help the city of Independence, the residents of Independence, make a change. But we just need that chance to do so. That's all I got.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jeff Rogers, who wishes to speak to the council regarding Chalk the Walk and the ARP funds. Mr. Rogers.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Rogers. I am a citizen and co-director of the Independent Square Association. First, I'd like to say just thanks to the many people who came out and supported Chalk the Walk this weekend. It's a collaboration between Inglewood and the square and the areas in between. Many of our aspiring artists and true artists came out and filled the area with pictures of their dreams. We also had a wonderful tribute to our fallen officer, and I appreciate all the words of support and the signatures that went in that area. So thank you to everyone who did that. I'd also like to say that as a representative of more than 50 of our historic district businesses, I'd like to voice our strong support of using some of the ARP dollars to invest in the infrastructure in the area, beginning to address the old pipes, the crumbling parking lots, the dimly lit sidewalks, lack of green space and all would be a welcome change to thousands of tourists, residents, and patrons who spend a lot of time in the heart of our city. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we have welcomed 9 new businesses to our area. But private investments continue to be made in those businesses as well. They've been made to numerous facades and interior spaces, to structural pieces of those historic buildings. We have young entrepreneurs who are expanding in their home businesses. They're adding additional locations, and others are exploring brick and mortar for the first time. As other surrounding cities continue to invest in their downtowns, we need to be doing the same. Let's make sure that our local small businesses don't move their concepts to our neighboring downtowns, and that those entrepreneurs that are looking continue to consider and choose our city for their home. We've been adding businesses for over a decade, but we know that the additional investment will go a long way to increasing the number of small businesses that land here, to keeping the small businesses we do have, and increasing sales through local and tourist dollars, increasing our visibility as a place for business owners to locate. With over 120 unique property owners in our district, this is an opportunity to use federal dollars to build up small businesses, to improve the appearance and infrastructure of our tourist hub, and to invest in the place where our community eats, shops, plays, celebrates important life events, attends festivals, marches and parades, experiences holiday traditions, and on and on. Let's not squander this incredible opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Our next speaker is Aaron Wildman, who wishes to speak to the council on behalf of FOP Lodge Number 1 regarding the ARPA expenditure plan.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, and Mr. City Manager. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Aaron Wildman, and I am speaking on behalf of the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 1, and I'm also a police officer here in the Independence Police Department. I come before you tonight asking for your support in the passage of the ARPA expenditure plan. I briefly want to give you a picture of what a patrol officer encounters daily. To be frank, we're tired and we're burnt out. On a typical shift, each officer responds to approximately 20 calls for service. Our 12-hour shifts frequently pass with patrol officers going directly from call to call to call. This causes pending calls to stack up, resulting in longer response times. It also leaves very little time for any proactive activity and forget about attending to basic human needs like eating, drinking, and using the restroom. On top of all that, officers deal with the constant stress from the reality that we live in a time where ambush attacks on police are up 148% from this time last year, and 220 officers have been shot in the line of duty in 2021 as of August 31st. Tragically, that's happened here now too. We simply need more help. As a lodge, we were encouraged by the recent talks and support from the council regarding the changes to Prop P, as well as unanimous support for the MOU 2 weeks ago. The MOU is a critical tool in addressing the hiring and retention concerns that have been presented, and our FOP president and vice president worked extremely hard on it, along with the city manager and assistant city manager. However, we were confused and disappointed by the failure of the vote for the ARP expenditure plan that would fund the very MOU that was passed just prior. The ARPA expenditure plan also includes critical funding for the Stay Well health insurance that is a benefit to every city employee, not just police officers. Without this funding, the MOU cannot be executed, and our health insurance is at risk. We hear that you support public safety and that you support our officers, and we truly believe you. However, we are understandably frustrated with the delays to the changes we are looking for. Your support does mean a lot, as we know there are a lot of communities around the country where officers are not supported by their local government. We understand that the ARPA objections were not for the funding for police, but to funding in other areas. We also recognize that there were multiple opportunities in the last 2 meetings for discussion and explanations for that opposition. Those opportunities were not taken. We are respectfully requesting some explanation and that changes to fix the opposed allocations are made quickly, please, tonight, so that the expenditure plan can pass. Now we need to see the council's support in a real and tangible way. We need to see it expressed not just in word, but in deed and follow through. We ask you to pass some form of the ARPA expenditure plan so the MOU can be executed, our health insurance protected, and we can reach the manpower we need to provide the public safety this community deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens who wish to address the council this evening? This moves us on to our presentation of the Susan P. Block Distinguished Public Service Award. Dr. Marriott.
Hello, good evening. My name is Stephanie Marriott, and I am here on behalf of the Junior Service League of Independence as past president. And I'm here tonight to present the 2021 Susan Paxton Block Distinguished Public Service Award. This award is given to an employee, a volunteer, or a public official for the City Government of Independence for displaying excellence in community government. To be nominated for this award, the individual must have achieved significant efficiency in the operation of a program or process, improve service, customer responsiveness, or cost savings, develop a new program that meets a community need, or just go above and beyond what is normally expected of a job. This year's recipient of the Susan Paxton Block Award is going to Diane Egger from the Health Department. Diane has been instrumental in setting up and operating the Health Department. She has hired and trained new employees and organized the office space to best serve the public. She has worked outside of her position to lead enforcement of health orders and assist businesses with compliance with health orders throughout this pandemic. She's an excellent communicator and helps to educate our community about how to prevent the spread of disease. Congratulations, Diane, on this honor and on receiving this distinguished award.
Thank you. Good evening. I'll only take 30 minutes. It's okay. No. Well, I'm honored to receive this award, and I want to thank the committee and the Block family that selected me for this award. It really means a lot to me. The 26 plus years that I've worked at the city, I've held many titles, worked in many departments, as many of you know, but this health department restructuring and reestablishing is probably the most challenging, but the most rewarding. So this means a lot to me, and I thank you.
Congratulations, Diane. This takes us to our consent agenda. Mayor Pro Tem.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the reports and recommendations of the city manager.
Second.
I am going to pull Resolution 21804. Are there any other items any council member wishes pulled for separate consideration? Hearing none, please call the roll, minus Resolution 21804.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Mr. City Manager, 21804 is a resolution revising rates for the city's self-insurance health plans. This is a very important topic to our employees, and I just thought it would be helpful to pull this off and have a little explanation of how we arrived at this rate.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, for the opportunity to do so. As I mentioned back in May during the submitted budget presentation, one of the challenging areas we were going to need to address this fiscal year was with our health insurance plan as costs continue to outpace the revenues that fund was generating. Our Stay Well Employee Advisory Committee has spent a lot of time over the last several months looking at different options, having a lot of meaningful conversations about how to address that. If the council will indulge, I would like to ask the chairperson, Mike Veet, to come up and share a little bit about how the committee arrived at this recommendation and what those recommendations are, because it is very meaningful work.
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Good evening, Mayor Weir, council members. So this has been something that's been on in our project book for the last couple months, dating back to the first part of the year when we actually transitioned from one healthcare consulting firm and locked into our new consultants in CBiz. We knew at this point that we were having some issues financially due to multiple reasons why we'd gotten to this point. So we're working with CBiz over the course of this year. We'd started to move forward to fix those problems. And one of those was back in July. We made a 10%, we recommended to the city manager's office a 10% increase to the premiums across the board. Well, when we started really looking into this, that was a small portion of us helping to fix it. At that time, we were still facing we needed to have about a 16 to 17% increase in premiums. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for the employees out of their pocket. It's also a lot of money for the employer, the city, out of their pocket as well. So we came to the agreement on 10% with the understanding that the committee would continue to look at different ways to bring the funding up and bring the city's funding up, as well as help bringing the cost of our entire healthcare plan down. So we were able to do that through several meetings and meeting with our consultants in CBiz. We looked at making changes to deductibles, out-of-pocket maxes, co-pays. One of the things that we were really big on is that we wanted to give the employees a different option as far as healthcare plans too. So we've initiated a third tier option, which will be a consumer-driven high deductible plan with a lot deeper discounts because we're using the local facilities of the HCA along with several other agencies and hospitals in the area. So it'll be at a deeper discount, and we're trying to move people to those consumer-driven plans so that they can really buy into their insurance as well. The other thing that we looked at is we carved out the vision package. That's a savings of about $350,000 from the healthcare and it'll move to a fully funded plan similar to the way our dental insurance is currently at this time. The other thing that we've done is that we, in our contract with Cigna, under our pharmacy, we have the right that after the second quarter, if we notice more than a 2% market change, that we're allowed to go back to Cigna to renegotiate that contract. Our healthcare consultants in CBIZ found substantial savings in that plan, and we've gone back and we're currently in negotiations working that out with Cigna to save some money on that side of it. I can tell you when we started this process in August, by the end of 2022, we were looking at a $4.3 million deficit just to our healthcare fund. I can tell you between the work of the Staywell Committee and the City Administrator's Office that we've narrowed that deficit to about $1.8 million at this time. Now, everybody's going to question the fairness of that difference in there, but I can tell you that between the work of the Staywell Committee and the City Administration, that out of that difference is being split virtually 50-50 between the employees and the city at this time. So, and then any of the contract changes that happen on the pharmacy side will come off of that $1.8 million deficit. So if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the work that you've done on this and working with the city manager to come together with this plan in a challenging situation. We know these healthcare costs are continuing to rise, but this seems like a very effective and well thought out plan. Are there any questions? I would move for approval of 21804.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Weir?
Yes. Our first public hearing this evening is on proposed property tax rates to be set by the City of Independence for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021, based on the current assessed valuation by Jackson and Clay counties. This is a full public hearing. We do have a motion prior to the reading of this bill to amend Bill number 21065 to change the figures in the ordinance to reflect the current valuations provided to the city.
So moved. Would you say
Yeah, you can second it.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? This is a update, if I understand correctly, Madam City Clerk, based on some information that we received since the first reading that changed some of the calculations.
That's correct.
The city received an updated valuation on September 14th, which included the recoupment of taxes from 2019 and 2020. So the proposed amended ordinance in this packet has the accurate valuations included. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this issue in the public hearing? Yes? Yes?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council, City Manager. My name's Kenneth Love. I live at 16808 East George Franklin Drive, Independence, Missouri. That is in District 3. As a investor within the City of Independence with more than one property, going through these assessed values with Jackson County has become the biggest joke that you can see. They tell you, take photos, bring them to your meeting, talk about your taxes. We can look at them. All of this information provided to Jackson County until the morning that you arrive. Oh, wait a minute, you got a postcard that says be there today at 10 a.m. You just got it. That's because they don't mail them out quick enough for you to object of your property value or your assessed value, or so that you can challenge your value. Then, well, these pictures ain't good enough. This ain't good enough. Jackson County has a serious problem with assessing property values. They just stated earlier this week on properties that they have just now got enough personnel to actually evaluate the City of Independence taxes for the year 2022. So when you look at this, make sure 2022. I haven't seen nobody at any of my properties in 6 years. The only thing I've ever seen at my property is a business rental ready for me to get a business license within the City of Independence. But my taxes keep going up and up and up. Citizens and the residents of Independence, it's hard with the taxes keep going up. It don't matter if you pass this tax, pass that tax, their wages are not going up in their work site or jobs. And you're going to talk about maybe increasing the taxes here in this city? It's something to really think about, because the people cannot afford it. I haven't seen a cost of living raise in the City of Independence. I can look at the FOP and ask them if they had a raise. Firefighters, police officers. And I'm sure that answer is going to be no. So when you look at the assessment value, please make sure you give the citizens the right to come and just challenge some way or somehow. Not just say, hey, here's your raise and you're going to pay this tax, and you got to, if not, your property becomes delinquent. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor Ware. Thank you, Zach. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Be safe.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak during the public hearing? Public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
We need to take a roll call vote on the amendment.
Oh, excuse me. There was a motion and a second to amend Bill number 21065. We need to call the roll on that motion.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes.
Bill number 21-065, an ordinance levying a tax on all real property subject to taxation on January 1st, 2021, within the corporate limits of the City of Independence, Missouri, for general revenue and public health and recreation purposes, and for the Independence Square Special Business Benefit District, said levies and assessments being separate and distinct, all for the fiscal year commencing on the 1st day of July 2021 and ending on the 30th day of June 2022. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes. Ordinance passes. Our next public hearing is for the amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 14 of the Independence City Code relating to group living facilities in Section 14-404. This is a full public hearing. Mr. Arroyo.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Rick Arroyo, the Assistant Community Development Director here at the city. This code amendment was considered by Planning Commission on August 10th. Planning Commission did recommend in favor of this amendment. This amendment does modify language in the UDO regarding special use permits to operate group living facilities. I have no new information to add.
Okay, thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the council on the public hearing?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, I was wondering, I read through that a little bit. I didn't see anything providing any kind of security. It looked like 2 people for 30 occupants there. We don't have, there's no security whatsoever here addressed on this.
So part of the, if I may answer that question, part of that management plan does include a staffing plan and a emergency contact information as far as what happens in the event of something occurring, who they would contact, how that would happen. We do have some minimum standards for the number of personnel but the applicant can provide a plan that is different than what is being requested in the actual ordinance language.
Well, I know our police department's already stressed out. I would like to amend this that we include some kind of private security or off-duty security on one of these facilities, on this facility. This particular one, I guess, with 30 people.
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
I'm looking at number 4, section 4 here. Under that, the homeless shelter shall have at least 2 employees and or volunteers on the premises during all operational hours for the first 10 guests, and 1 additional employee and or volunteer for every 10 additional guests, or any portion thereof. Is that what you're speaking to? Sounds like that's a decent start. I would hate to put a dollar amount. Most reputable ones will probably have that anyway built into their homeless house shelter drop-in center anyway. If they would do that to be smart, but I would not want to tie their hands directly right now on that.
So did you want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
No. Did you want to amend it? Or
No,
just leave it?
I made a motion to amend it, yes, to include a security 24/7.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
No.
Stewart?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
No.
Mayor Ware?
No. Motion fails. Are there any citizens who wish to speak on the public hearing? If so, just come up to the podium.
Let me address my concern directly to you, Mr. Huff.
Ms. Alexander, you are not permitted to address council members directly, or you can only
Oh,
address
okay.
the council.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I just saw him glance away, so I wanted to make sure that I spoke correctly to him. But what I want to say is, whenever you have a group living facility, if the people cannot follow the rules in it, then they'll be discharged. And so if they are not a resident of Independence, there should be a discharge plan to help them return to wherever they were a resident of prior to coming here. Whatever kind of group living that is, it doesn't matter. Whether it is people that are intellectually challenged, developmentally challenged, correctionally challenged, substance abuse, whatever the issue is. A trash bag discharge is not a good idea.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak on the public hearing? Public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 21-067, an ordinance amending the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 14 of the Independent City Code pertaining to group living facilities. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Huff?
No.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
No.
Steinmeier?
No.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Ware?
Yes. Ordinance fails. This brings us to our non-ordinance action item. Non-ordinance action item number 1.
Consideration of amended American Rescue Plan, ARPA expenditure plan.
Is there any discussion on this item?
Madam Mayor,
Councilman Stewart?
I would actually like to make a motion to do an amendment on this. We received a memo earlier in the week from the city manager about some needs of the police department. And so I'd like to make a motion to remove the $1,435,000 from the Square Streetscape funding. And I'm gonna be throwing out some numbers here, so bear with me. I would like to use that money, $678,612.
I'm sorry, say that again. What's the amount?
678,612 for the body cameras for the police department and everything it entails.
I would like to do the Virtua de-escalation training simulator for $185,844.96. I'd like to, the first year of the Shot Spotter program would be $290,000. Replacement of the gas masks would be $12,672.50. I would also like to add in there a crisis negotiation throw phone that's used in situations where they would, maybe somebody, they have a hostage situation, they can actually throw the phone to them to speak to the person. Everything I can find, the price of that is around $30,000. And then the remaining funding I would like to see go to the startup of the health department, which is $237,870.54.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Yes?
Madam Mayor, I'm kind of agreeing here with Councilman Stewart. One of our strategic things in our plan is public safety, and the safety of our public. I think this falls into it. Spend a little bit more money for our police department, get technology caught up, and spend this in that way, since that's one of our strategic, one of our number one. I believe it is number one.
Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
No.
Stewart?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
No.
Mayor Weir?
No, motion fails. Item number 1, is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to amend in this grouping the improved public infrastructure and facilities of $1,617,285.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to speak slowly so we can write these down unless you've printed your motion.
$1,617,285
Okay.
to be spent on a $540,748 for a new pumper for our fire department, a regular pumper, and $1,076,537 for an emergency operations center mobile command unit. That would be used for our city and anything that needs to be covered due to natural disasters, any other crisis emergencies that we have.
Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, once again, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead.
Once again, I'm really concerned about the public safety. That's our number one goal here. I think we're borrowing this money from the water company at 1 or 1.5%. I don't think we can get any money anywhere else for that kind of money. So we'll be in favor of this.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
No.
Stewart?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
No.
Mayor Weir?
No, motion fails. Item number 1. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Huff?
No.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
No.
Steinmeier?
No.
Hobart?
No.
Mayor Weir?
Yes. Item number 1 fails. Resolution 21805.
Bill number 21-805, a resolution directing the city manager to amend the expenditure plan for the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA.
Is there any discussion on this resolution?
Madam Mayor. Reason why we pulled this one, I pulled this one out and did a special resolution is because we have a lot of concerns in the police department here of getting this retention money to them. And so we wanted to make a resolution separating it from the rest of the plan.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins.
No.
Stewart,
Yes.
Steinmeier.
Yes.
Hobart,
No.
Mayor Weir.
No. Resolution fails.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to take a third bite at this apple. I'll make a motion to reconsider non-ordinance action item number 1.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to reconsider non-ordinance action item 1. Is there any discussion?
Madam
Hearing none-
Mayor,
Yes.
I will reinstate my previous amendment.
Your amendment has failed.
Yes, the amendment that failed.
The motion is for consideration of item number 1.
Correct, and I did a motion to amend that, did I not?
Yes, and your motion failed.
Can I not do another one?
We have to vote on the motion to
We have to
reconsider
vote on
first.
the motion that's on the table.
Oh, to reconsider,
Yes.
and then I can do a motion to amend it, is that, okay, okay.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
No.
Perkins.
Yes.
Stewart,
Just to clarify, we're just rediscussing it, is that right?
This is on the motion to reconsider.
Then I'll say yes.
Steinmeier,
No.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Motion passes. Councilman Stewart.
I will, do I need to read my numbers again? I'll make a motion to amend my previous with, remove the streetscaping and put the body cams and the de-escalation and all that other stuff in there.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, will you clarify, please?
What do you need clarified?
Well, this motion has already been voted on and failed to amend.
Well, he could make a motion to reconsider that amendment if you'd like to do that.
I will
Okay.
make a motion to reconsider that amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins.
No.
Stewart,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
No.
Mayor Weir.
No. Motion fails.
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
I'd like to reconsider the motion that I had to amend the improvement of public infrastructure and facilities.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins.
No.
Stewart,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
No.
Mayor Weir.
No. I lost track of the vote. Did it fail?
Yes. it
Okay.
failed.
Item number 1. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
I thought we already did this.
No.
Now you're back to actually voting on the
Reconsideration
of item number 1 as stated.
Okay. Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
No.
Steinmeier,
No.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, item number 1 passes. This takes us to our ordinances.
Bill number 21-064, an ordinance authorizing the city clerk to do all things necessary for the holding of a primary and general city election within the city of Independence, Missouri, in compliance with the charter adopted by said city as amended and all state laws in reference thereto, and to certify to the Jackson County Board of Election Commissioners all names of candidates properly presented by petitions under the charter and for the holding of a primary election on February 8th, 2022, and general election on April 5th, 2022. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Weir?
Yes. Ordinance passes.
Bill number 21-066, an ordinance approving the exercise within a portion of the City of Independence, Missouri, of certain powers, functions, and duties of a land clearance for redevelopment authority. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Weir?
Yes. Ordinance passes. Our first reading tonight is an emergency, so it will receive two readings.
Bill number 21-512, an ordinance authorizing the borrowing of not to exceed $76 million from the Missouri Development Finance Board to refinance the cost of projects related to the city's sanitary sewer system, approving the form of and authorizing the execution of a financing agreement with the Missouri Development Finance Board, prescribing other matters relating thereto, and declaring an emergency. Bill number 21-512, an ordinance authorizing the borrowing of not to exceed $76 million from the Missouri Development Finance Board to refinance the cost of projects related to the city's sanitary sewer system, approving the form of and authorizing the execution of a financing agreement with the Missouri Development Finance Board, prescribing other matters relating thereto, and declaring an emergency. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Weir?
Yes. Ordinance passes. This brings us to council member comments. I will start on my right with Councilman Stewart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll just be very brief. I just want to send out my condolences to the friend and family of Officer Blaze Madrid Edmonds, who tragically passed away in the line of duty. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Perkins.
Thank you, Mayor. I would also echo those sentiments as well. Tomorrow, I want to put a plug in for tomorrow's mental health town hall meeting at the Truman Memorial Building at 6 o'clock. We have a guest panel lineup of David Abrams from the Police Department, Rio Corbin from the Independent School District, psychologist, Christina Heinen, Director for the Health Department, City of Independence, Paul Lineker from Operations and Communication Manager of American Medical Response, Julie Pratt, President and CEO of Comprehensive Mental Health. It's a community discussion, open table, round table for the direction of our health department. Mental health issues is really big in our town, so we're taking the first steps of getting out and having that conversation. So tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Truman Memorial Building.
Thank you. Councilman Huff?
Yes, I just have one thing. I'm very disappointed in this council that we're not putting our public safety and welfare of our citizens first instead of pet projects. That's all I have.
Councilman Steinmeier.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I too just have had such a heavy heart for our city. To lose an officer, my wife, who's not here tonight, said that when we lose someone who does this type of job, who stands at the gate of our city, who protects us from good and evil, protects us from evil. It's a seed sown, and I just believe that it will be brought back to us. It will be multiplied. It'll be harvested. Our city is in a struggle, I think, in its identity. I mean, I've never been in a city at a period of this time in our city seeing the violence that we've seen. And yet tonight, We're going to be measured in history, what they're going to remember us by. We're going to have nice roads, nice parking lots, but we're not going to have the support of our, giving the support to our first responders. Our neighborhoods are important to us, our city's important to us. I asked the question, what kind of city do you want to live in? Last Saturday, I went to an event in a neighborhood that is the fruit of one person who decided what type of neighborhood she wanted, and she's worked very hard. And as a result, the crime has gone down. She works hand in hand with the police. She has vision and purpose, and she realizes what type of neighborhood she wants to have. And she is a part of the city that I want to live in. I'm just disappointed. I wanted our police department to have what they need. I found out today that our fire department had one truck, one pumper running today. We were just trying to get you another pumper, guys. I hope that we really take to heart what type of city that we're leaving for another generation. We're behind on so much in the way of equipment, manpower. We've had revenue issues, budget issues, and now we're way behind. And we could have used this opportunity tonight to catch up. But we're going to have nice streets on the square. And we're going to have nice parking spots. So we just need to
Continue.
we just need to be, as a community, we need to rally together, be supportive, be kind to each other. We need to make sure that we show the support and love for our first responders, especially this week, but also for the weeks to come. When you lose someone, all of this week will be fast and furious, but next week will be that healing time. So I hope that when you see a police officer, you see your firefighters, if they are willing, hug them. Let them know you appreciate their efforts, because I certainly do. And I'm sorry, we tried tonight. So that's all I have.
Councilman Hobart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What a horrendous, terrible week. I have made an effort to be positive in my council member comments for some time now, and it's as hard as ever to sit in this seat and be positive sometimes. What I will say is this: at the FOP Lodge this week, at the candlelight vigil for the innocent young man that gave his life to protect us, there were officers and law enforcement from almost every department in the metro. I did not expect to see Jackson County deputies and Lee Summit, Leewood, Grain Valley. It reminded me of something that was said up here a couple weeks ago, which is we need to get together. We need to be together. And in a time of need, your sisters and brothers came together to show support for you. There's not a sort of civilian or a person that doesn't work in a life-threatening job that really knows how you feel. You can't put yourself in the shoes of somebody that goes out and risks their life every day. It's unthinkable for those of us that don't. It is terrifying. So thank you. Thank you so very much. That's all.
Thank you. We will, this community, have the opportunity on November the 2nd to vote on amendments to Prop P to make more resources available to our police department with no tax increase, and have the opportunity to increase resources for our much-needed fire department. So I encourage all of you to become educated about those and go out and vote in support of our public safety on November 2nd. If you are wanting a presentation, please let us know, and we will arrange to have the departments come out and give a presentation on the needs that they have currently, that they have to manage with, and that we will never likely have enough resources to fully meet. So I wanted to assure everybody of their opportunity to come forward and support our police and fire departments with those resources on November the 2nd. I think what this week has, one of the many things that it has meant to me as we grieve the loss of somebody who was a member of our Independence family, is still a member. We are here for his family now and for as long as they need us, but we need to remember to recognize those in our community, and especially within our city workforce, who really are doing remarkable things, and they're happening every single day. But I would like to call attention to a couple who really rose above and beyond and were recognized for their efforts. First, of course, Diane Egger, who was here earlier this evening, receiving the very prestigious Susie Block Award. She has worked tirelessly since the beginning of the pandemic to assist the city in our COVID-19 response. She did not work in the health department at that time. We asked her to bring her wealth of experience, nearly 26 years with the city, to assist us in doing what needed to be done in order to protect our community. Then she transitioned to the health department, and through the efforts of many, we were recognized as a local public health authority, and Diane was tasked with setting up that department, which we funded this evening. Billy Clark, firefighter, who was honored Friday evening at the Kansas City Royals game as a hometown hero for his work with the City of Independence Fire Department and his incredible work outside of his on-duty hours supporting first responders. And there was also a very nice moment of silence for our fallen officer on Friday night. So our congratulations to firefighter Billy Clark. Last and certainly not least, although maybe on a lighter note, our friend John Mayfield, a longtime city employee, was inducted on Friday night in the Fort Osage Hall of Fame for his support and love for his alma mater, Fort Osage. So I think it's important that we take time, which we don't do often enough, to recognize these great people who work for us, who come to work every single day in various capacities to work on behalf of the citizens of this community and do their very best. And again, I would encourage you to attend the town hall meeting tomorrow night. I think there was some confusion. This is a event that the city has planned and is putting on. It's not any council member's event. So I certainly expect that many of us will be there, and I think it's a wonderful way to continue the conversation that we had this evening. Mr. City Manager, anything else?
Nothing else tonight, thank you.
We're adjourned.